Hello and welcome to another episode of All Sports Takes. And today we will be doing our playoff predictions for the NFL. The Bengals sadly did not make it, and John beat me in the predictions, meaning I have to do the punishment, which the video will be coming soon, hopefully before the Super Bowl. John, how does it feel?
I hadn't lost all season. I was always leading, and I think I've really matured since last year when I lost, and I think I had a little sour taste in my mouth after having to do the Blazing Challenge because I think I'm still suffering from that punishment. So glad to win, glad to advance my football knowledge, and overall just a great year for me. Not in fantasy though. We'll point that out.
Yeah, no, the Blazing Challenge really struck a chord in you. If if the Jags would have gotten one extra yard, I think that I would have won it. But on 4th and 22, they threw for 21 yards instead of 22 against the Colts, and that's why I lost this battle. But it is what it is. Next season, we're going to ball.
I will point out that me and Andrew's records were both pretty good this year.
Mm.
Very good actually.
Yeah, definitely respectable predictions. I've seen some better ones, but definitely respectable. Those first couple of weeks kind of hurt us, but respectable predictions nevertheless. Anyway, let's get straight into our playoff predictions. Hopefully, one of us can go 100% maybe. Um, First round, John, of the AFC. We have the Bills versus the Broncos. I have the Bills in this one. I think that the Broncos offense is good. But that Chiefs win wasn't a statement win. It was more of just you're kind of beating a kid for his candy. I think that the Bills are just a better team overall. And I don't think anybody really has the Broncos winning this one.
Yeah, I don't have the Broncos winning here. I think they're a good team, and they're just playing a really good number two seed here in the Bills, who are just one of the best teams in the NFL. And not much to say, not much you can do.
Next, we have probably the worst playoff game, the Ravens versus the Steelers. I don't think anybody really wants to watch this one. I got the Ravens. Steelers shouldn't be in the playoffs. They're a poverty team.
Yeah, let me tell you, man, Ravens always start off good, but come around week 10, week 11, straight fall off, and they are no longer good. Really shouldn't be in the playoffs, and I'll be picking the Ravens here. Overall, better team.
Yeah, the Steelers really do fall off week 11. Next, we have the Texans versus the Chargers. Another game nobody really wants to watch. Texans, I think, are heavily overrated. CJ Stroud hasn't been playing amazing, partially due to his O line. And for that reason, I have the Chargers winning this one. I think just Justin Herbert is a better QB. The Chargers defense is better than the Texans. They have pretty much everything better.
Yeah, I'll just second Andrew. I do have the Chargers winning this one. I think CJ Stroud really hit a sophomore slump. I just don't think the Texans are that good of a team, and I think the Chargers will take care of business here.
The NFC is where it gets interesting, John. We got the Packers versus the Eagles for the 17 and the 2 seed. I personally highly rate the Eagles, so I have them winning this one. Some people have the Packers winning this one. It definitely will be an interesting game, but for me, the game being in Philadelphia and how much the Eagles dominate the trenches on offense is the reason why I'm going to pick the Eagles here. Saquon Barkley is too good, and the tush push overall is just too good.
Yeah, I do. I would love to see. I do really like the Packers, but I just don't see them winning this game. I think Jordan Love will be playing, correct?
Yes.
And they had a really poor showing against the Bears last week. They were starting all of their players, and they still lost. Even though Jordan Love did get injured, it was still a bad showing from them. And that I don't. It just makes me want to pick them less. And so I'll be picking the Eagles here. Again, as Andrew said, really, really strong team here in the Eagles.
I do want to point out that both of these kickers haven't been performing very well. Brandon McManus has been all right. Jake Elliott particularly hasn't been good, and I think that could cost the Eagles down the stretch here.
Hmm.
Next game, we have the 3 seed Buccaneers facing off against the Commanders. Who do you got in this one?
I'm gonna take the upset here. I'm gonna pick the Commanders. I think the Bucks are a good team, but I just don't think they're that good. They almost lost to the Saints last week, barely pulled it out. I just think the Commanders really are playing for something. No, they haven't been in the playoffs in a while, haven't been good in a while. Well, they actually were a couple years ago against Brady, but they still lost. But I really think Jaden Daniels is really going to put it on this week, really going to show out. And I just think they're going to high scoring game though, but they're going to barely edge out the Bucks here in this game.
Yeah, I got the Bucks in this one. You know how much I love the Bucks. You know how much I like Baker Mayfield. I just think that having an experienced QB pays dividends. The Bucks defense is better than that. The Commanders defense as well. And then I just think that like having Baker Mayfield as your QB, he proved last year that he's pretty darn good in the playoffs. They almost beat the Lions in that divisional round. Even without Chris Godwin, I think you have Mike Evans there. I think you got McMillan. And I think that this offense will just outscore that of a rookie who's bound to make a couple mistakes due to the nerves he'll feel in the playoffs.
Mm.
Next, we have the Vikings versus the Rams, probably one of the most interesting playoff games. It's being played in Arizona due to the wildfires in LA. And so, therefore, the already non existent Rams fans will not be able to watch their team play at home. John, I think you got the Vikings in this one, but who do you got?
Yeah, pretty easy pick for me actually. I didn't really ever really consider the Rams. I don't think they're that good. Their offense has struggled a lot these past weeks. I don't really think their defense is that good. The last 2 weeks they've held opponents like less than 15 points, but the opponents they played haven't really been that good, and their offense still struggled. So I think it's a pretty safe bet here. I'm gonna go with the Vikings, and the Rams did lose home field advantage, even though it didn't really matter that much. They still lost it.
For me, this game is going to come out to whose defense can play better. I think both quarterbacks will struggle. Sam Darnold, based off of his injury, and Matt Stafford is just aging. He isn't looking like he was. Um, Obviously, amazing wide receivers on both sides with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, as well as with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. With that being said, I think the Rams defense is a better defense than that of the Vikings.
Hmm.
And I do think that the Rams will edge the Vikings out in this one, maybe by a field goal. The Rams are usually pretty darn good in the playoffs, John. They have the experience, they have the players. I think they're going to edge them out here.
Interesting pick there. I was not expecting that.
All right, let's get to the divisional rounds of the AFC. In our first matchup, we have the Chiefs versus the Chargers. Who do you got in this one, John?
Yeah, pretty easy pick for me. I got the Chiefs here. I'm sure some people are picking the Chargers, but I think they're just really experienced. They've been in this position like the past 3 years. I just think they're going to be able to handle it against the Chargers, and I think they're just going to come out with the win here.
Yeah, although I do think that this Chargers team is the best Chargers team we've seen in the past 4 years. I just think that they haven't had a really strong schedule, and I think that the Chiefs really know what they're doing. They know how to get the job done, and so I have the Chiefs winning this one as well. In the next game, we have probably the best game of the playoffs, in my opinion. I think this will be the best one. The Bills versus the Ravens. I have the Ravens winning this one. I think they're a better team.
Mm.
Everybody was talking about how much the Ravens kind of like sold last year, how good they were, how they couldn't even have made the Super Bowl. They were one lack of fumble away from beating the Chiefs, is what I want to say. And last year, their starting running back was Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill. This year, their starting running back is Derrick Henry. They have lost nobody. The only hole they've fixed is Derrick Henry. On paper, I think this team can make the Super Bowl, and I really think that they're going to beat a struggling Bills defense by just pounding their offense again against them. And Josh Allen just won't be able to keep up. He won't be able to carry the Bills this much, and so for that reason, I have the Ravens winning.
Mm. I actually picked the Bills here. Um, I think both of these teams probably could go to the Super Bowl, but I just like the Bills more. They've been so close the past couple of years, and I think this is the year. I really like Josh Allen. I really like James Cook. I like their offensive line, and I like the receiving core. Even though it's not the best, I really like their offense. I think they can compete with any team in the NFL, even if they lack of injuries. They have a great coaching scheme. Zay Flowers should be back for the Ravens, but I just still think the Bills are going to pull this game out.
Yeah, my problem with the Bills is although on their day they will beat any team in the NFL, on their off days it really shows. They do not play well on their off days. They're coming off a loss against the Patriots, which just probably hurts a little bit. I'm just not confident in this team to get it done when the pressure's on them. They haven't been able to do it in the past. Why would they do it now?
The
Next,
Ravens haven't either, to be fair.
true. Next in the NFC Championship, we have the Eagles facing, or I guess let's do the Lions first. We have the Lions facing off against the Vikings for you. Who do you got in that one, John?
Yeah, pretty easy pick. No, it's Lions versus Commanders because I picked the
Oh yeah, yeah,
Commanders.
Lions versus Commanders for you.
Yes, this is a pretty easy pick for me. I'm going to pick the Lions here. I just think they're overall better team, better quarterback, better running back, better line, hold better defense. Whole 9 yards. They're just better team overall, and that's easy pick for me. I'm gonna pick the Lions here.
I'm picking the Lions in that scenario every single time. For me, I believe that I have the Lions versus the Rams, correct?
Bucks. Wait, yeah. You would have the Rams. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Lions
think
versus.
that the Rams will be able to kind of put a test to the Lions. I think that they're a good team. Overall, I think that this could be a revenge game for them based off of last playoffs. That was a tough game to watch. I don't know for a couple of reasons for you, John, doing the Blazing Challenge. But I think that the Lions are just too good to go against, and so I'm just going to pick them here.
Okay, yeah.
My second game for me is the Eagles versus the Bucks. In my opinion, if the Eagles win this game, they will make the Super Bowl. That's my hot take. I just think that they just dominate on offense. In all these teams that I'm looking at in the NFC, their defense is injured, except the Bucks. The Bucks is the only team who I think has like a solid non-injured defense, and so for that reason, I'm gonna be picking the Bucks to. Sorry, I'm gonna pick the Bucks to make it a close game, but overall, I'm gonna pick the Eagles to win this game in a close one.
All right.
Well, John, you got the Eagles versus the Rams in your game. Who do you got in that one?
Eagles versus Vikings.
Or Vikings, sorry.
Yeah, this is a pretty hard pick for me. I really did not know who to pick in this game. To me, it's almost a toss-up.
Really?
On either day that either team could win for me. But for me, I'm just gonna have to pick the Eagles. Just too dominant. Saquon Barkley just gonna run, and I just gotta pick the Eagles here.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of disrespecting the Eagles there for even considering it, in my opinion. Although the Vikings have had a great season, just Sam Darnold has looked like trash, dude. I hate to say it. In the AFC Championship, for you, you have the Bills versus the Chiefs, and heck of a matchup rematch. I have the Ravens versus the Chiefs. John, I have a feeling you got the Bills here.
Yeah, and you would be right. I don't think the Chiefs have what it takes to make it this year. I know they're 15-2 or whatever it is. I know they're a great team, but I just think this is the year they finally lose. I think the Bills are the team to do it. They beat them once in the regular season, and usually you trade off come playoffs. But I just think the Bills are just gonna be able to win this game. Gonna be a great game. Oh, it's gonna be a great game. Down at Arrowhead's probably gonna be freezing, but I just got the Bills here. I just think they're gonna be able to pull it out and they can make the Super Bowl.
John, you just talked about this trade off, and that is exactly why I have the Ravens winning this one. Um, the Chiefs were 1 inch away from losing that game on the beginning of the season against the Ravens. And for me, I just think that the Ravens are a better overall team than that of the Chiefs, given that the Chiefs defense is probably the best in the NFL. Whereas the Ravens have an insanely good offense as well as a pretty darn good defense. I like Patrick Queen to step up here, really take the ball and put it right in Isaiah Pacheco's face. I have the Ravens winning this one in Arrowhead. Revenge story, Ravens in the Super Bowl.
Mm, I like
Next,
that.
we have the Eagles versus the Lions for me. As I just said, I got the Eagles making the Super Bowl. I just think that the Eagles are too good against poor defenses. They're going to beat the Lions because the Lions defense is injured. The Lions don't have a good rush defense necessarily. And I just think that Saquon is definitely just going to go to town. Um, and the Lions can't stop the Eagles on 4th and 1, which is a really big deal. I watched the Eagles games and I watched them get the 4th and 1, and it's an automatic every single time. No other team can do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is a hard game again. I just two great teams, very hard to pick. I think you could only ride Saquon Barkley for so many games though until eventually he has a dud game, and I think he will do it against the Packers. Probably do it against Vikings. But I think the Lions, if any team, even though the defense is really injured, I think they can still shut them down. This Lions defense is not as bad as people make them sound, and they do got some injuries, but I still think they're a good team. They force turnovers and they play clutch. And I'm gonna pick the Lions here. I just think they make it. I think they get over the hump this year. They lost last year to the 49ers, but this year I think it's their year. I think they make it. So I got the Lions winning.
So, John, I think you got the most common Super Bowl in the Lions versus the Bills. I'm curious to
Mm.
see who you have winning that one.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, I just don't know who to pick. Really, it's really another toss-up game for me. The Super Bowl is always a toss-up game. You really never know who's gonna win. But guys, pick the Lions here.
Yeah.
Staying strong. I think they bring it home to Detroit for the first time.
Yeah, I really like that pick, and I think that's my ideal scenario. Lions, Bills, Super Bowl, the Lions winning it. For me, I have the Eagles versus the Ravens, and I think that the Eagles will end up and win this Super Bowl. It's going to be a bad game to watch. It's going to be one of the worst Super Bowls we've ever watched because both teams are just going to keep running it, running it. Every now and then there'll be one big play by Lamar Jackson, play action pass, but I think the Eagles will win like 20-13, something really bad
Yeah.
game. It's
Are we
all
talking worse than the Pats Rams Super Bowl a couple years ago?
no, no, definitely not worse than that. The offenses are too good nowadays to be that bad.
And I will say, Andrew, you do have pretty ballsy picks in here, but I will say I do have some too. I don't know. I
I
think
don't think
Commanders
so.
pick.
I don't think there's any ballsy picks besides the Eagles over the Lions and those Ravens over the Bills. Those are the only two in my book.
I got the Commanders. I think that's a ballsy pick for me there, but
There's one, bro. Honestly, I think that the Bucks will beat the Lions if it's the NFC. I just don't. I feel like it's just the lie downs. I've been taught my entire life that the Lions will make the Super Bowl. I just don't see how they could.
hey, times change. All I will say is, Andrew, is I like your picks, but I just can't see Eagles Ravens Super Bowl. I just can't see it. I
I
don't
hope
think.
it's not. I hope it's not. I'm not letting that go on the record there.
Hey, I hope you're right, man.
Anyway, thank you for watching All Sports Takes. We will see you soon to review our division picks from the beginning of the season and check that out. And and maybe review some of the playoff games that happened in the wild card.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed.
Deuces.
Peace.